The following is a Productions original series.
Hello and welcome to Walk and Roll Live. I am Doug Vincent. Along with Addie Rich, our podcast is dedicated to amplifying the voices of the disability community. I'm a polio survivor, and Addie
has cerebral palsy.
Yay!
Still, yay!
Well, just like last week, I want to repeat it. I want to give you an opportunity to talk about your event coming up this weekend.
Yes,
right?
It's coming up this weekend. But first, we have to shout out the birthday boy. Happy birthday. Happy belated birthday.
Another year.
Put another notch on the tree.
Yes. Absolutely. Had a great day, though. Had a great day.
Yeah.
You know, anytime I can spend time with my daughter and my granddaughter, you know, went to breakfast, and I found this thing on. I saw her a week or two ago and just hung out with her for a while. It was so great. She's showing me through her room, and you know, she had this tub full of, you know, squishies and different. They're all the fidget toys.
Okay.
Yeah, and she just enjoys them. I guess I don't think she has a real medical need for them. She enjoys them, but she's showing me all where they've come from and all that. Well, I'm looking through social media and I see this like an egg, and then it'll kind of unravel. It looks kind of like a pineapple where you have all the leaves. You know how all the leaves are? But so that shape will just, if you hold it by just one part on the top, it just all unfolds.
Okay.
You know, without falling apart, but it just kind of in a spiral.
It does like a weird little wave.
And then you can put it back together. Yeah. So she loved that. She was sending me videos last night of doing it in slow motion.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. So it was a big hit. So that was
win.
Fun.
You win the grandpa toys game. No, that's so fun.
Yeah. And then had dinner with a friend last night. Got to go over to the beach. I left here. It was 107. When I got there, it was 82. So, yeah, this is a good idea.
Yuck.
Yeah, this whole week.
No.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, around
Stay
Thursday.
Inside.
Around Thursday, it's going to be like 107 or.
My God, hydrate.
Yes.
Seriously, like check on your friends without air. Like no joke. I mean, we're making humor about it, but it's dangerously hot.
And those things creep up on you. You know, you think you're doing fine, but next thing you know.
Or you think you've drank enough water, but you don't realize how much you're sweating out. I was watching part of a documentary. Well, I guess it was the Sunday morning show. I'm officially old.
Oh, yeah.
But they were talking about the heat wave and like on record looking at time and like how long, you know, basically the planet is kind of heating up because there's unusually hot temperatures, you know, and some climate person was talking about the fires and like, you know, all the different things slightly being related and like how it's all interlocked because things are drier because it's been hotter and there isn't as much rainfall.
Because this is what Earth does. You know, geologists go back and look, and we've warmed up and we've cooled and we've warmed and we've cooled.
Exactly. It cycles. But needless to say, we're here as humans and it can be damn hot.
Yeah, absolutely. That's I think I mentioned I'm going to Phoenix for the Abilities Expo, and then to go see my brother. Well, Phoenix, you know, you can imagine in September. I'm bracing myself for 120. And
I know. I'm like, you need shorts. You need those chillo towels. You need like all the things, right?
I need to be inside with AC. That's
right.
That's what I'll be.
But I'm like, I'm planning. My brain is like, worst case scenario. What do we need that you can like deploy? Because like you say, you don't realize I'll be out in the backyard and like literally, I put up my pool, all excited to have my pool up. Then decided it was very annoying because the dogs like to drink out of it. But it's been so hot that like going out to try and bail the water and stuff, it was way too hot. I would just be sweating and cursing and all the things, and so I decided the other morning at like 6:40 in the morning to go out and like bail it out and lay it out to let it dry, you know.
Is this a rigid one, like a rigid plastic one, or?
It has kind of rigidy sides, but so, you know, you have to kind of like make it deflate and flat out to dry.
So you can get the water out,
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure the neighbors were like, why is the girl outside at 6:40 in the morning, like trying this? But literally by 8:15, it was dry and I rolled it up because it had been so hot. So,
well, and I learned this years ago, and it's one of those early indicators is you get a headache at the top of your head. You know, and that's from dehydration. So if you're getting that signal, the others can't be too far behind. And
your
make
brain's
sure
like,
you're
ugh.
guggling water.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so tell us more about your big event coming up.
Well, I'm excited. It's this Sunday. It's 12 to 3. It's at Spin Art Atlanta. And we're going to break some stuff for my mom who hates
for therapeutic reasons.
We're going to break some things for therapeutic reasons, but hopefully, more importantly to me, is to let people be seen and talk about some things that are really heavy and we care around, and we don't feel like there's a space to say it. Yeah. And where, you know, we're so socially conditioned as people that when people say, "How are you?" you say, "Great." And it literally is like not the case. You've just trained your face to like button it all up inside. And I want to like give people permission that it's okay to be mad. It's okay to be sad. Just don't stay there. And so kind of in this 3-hour period, let's
kind of what we do here. You know, we give people permission to
exactly.
tell
It's an
their
extension
story.
of Rock and Roll Live and just, you know, teaching people that it's okay to grieve. It's okay to be human. It's because there's so much like, oh, don't say that. Don't do that. Don't, or you must do X, Y, and Z, right? And I feel like as I've aged, I've learned that a lot of it is just social conditioning. And so
will the attendees have an opportunity to kind of share, you know, some experience
yes, if they're comfortable.
Yes, and whether, you know, thing they've learned, some strategies they've learned to help in certain situations, so they can pass that on to somebody else.
Yeah, I kind of want to make it like a listening circle, right? Where I bring kind of the humor. I start the story, but the story is really theirs to tell however we kind of take it. I know that I've got X amount of time. I know that we're going to break shit for 45 minutes, you know, and then come out and then talk about things and what, you know, you can share what you let go or not. It's your business, but I want people to feel like the internet can sometimes make you a friend. Yes, it can be a creepy place, but it can also be a place that you realize you're on an island. And
so where do we get tickets?
Online. You can DM me. You can go to my website and well, Facebook is probably easiest because anybody can find anybody. Addie Rich and common, not as common first name. So look for that and I can send you the link and we'll get you there with us. And we're going to have some snacks and we're going to break some stuff and, you know, hopefully leave with a few pictures, a lot of laughs and a little bit lighter.
Might be a few tears and a lot of laughs. Huh?
Yeah. I'm the crier, you know, like you're already calling it into being. I'm going to cry just because people are there.
Yeah. I know it's your baby you're putting together.
Yes.
Well, good deal. All the luck and can't wait to hear about it next week.
Yes.
All right. And,
for sure.
You know, I talked about it last week, but they got the patio all finished. Love it. And now I'm just waiting for the patio cover people to come in, but I've been out there watering it so it cures properly. And all
amazing.
That stuff. Yeah. So, and the accessibility is just awesome. You know, I can go out the garage, get around to the backyard, you know, and just practically I've got another egress if a fire happens. Cause if I went out the back door, I'm not going to be able to really, especially with that condition, you know, if the house burned down, get down the grass and get out the gate and all that. So this will make it much easier, you know.
No, I'm amazed. It's like one of those things like you and I were talking about, like you don't realize the adaptations you've made or the things you've just like put off because it just wasn't available to you. And now it's available. You're like, oh my God, I have a whole yard.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. It's odd going back out there and just, having more space and, you know, and it was, I mean, it seems like a minor thing, but, you know, brick alone, because, you know, any wheelchair user knows that's the slightest little thing will stop. A threshold doesn't seem like a big deal to you, but when you're going through a door, you're opening the door, you're trying to push the chair forward, then you get hung up on the threshold, you know, and the door's trying to close on you as you're trying to push.
There's a video I made when I was at Disability Inn because I was trying to be cool. And I was trying to make a video of like opening the door and then like pushing and you see in the room. No, what you really got was like a minute and a half of me swearing because the door was swinging back so fast.
Perfect. Yeah.
I was trying not to break my face. I feel like I should post it just so people can laugh with me.
You should. I mean, that's real. That's what you go through.
Yeah. For sure.
But the brick patio that was there before, in addition to brick and all that, it was undulating because it wasn't flat by any means, and no floor is flat. Everybody knows, that we use a wheelchair. That no floor. You sit somewhere, you don't put your brakes on, you're rolling away on what looks like a perfectly
We're
flat
a level
floor.
checker for you. Yeah.
So all of that, is gone, and it feels great. So good. So we want to say thank you to Christina Rhodes. She was our representative from Abilities Expo and so many other things. I was listening back to it, and it was radio and singing and writing a book, and she's so multi-accomplished.
Yes.
She's young, crying out loud.
I know.
All right, so we'll harass her when we go to, or at least when I go to.
I know you'll harass on behalf of the both of us.
Yeah, absolutely, gladly. All right, too, one other thing I wanted to do. Anthesis is having their annual dinner every year, which is an organization that helps people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And, we have day programs, we have outings, we have job searches for them, and, those kinds of things. And we have our annual dinner coming up, and there's going to be a number of our participants that won't be able to go. They just don't have the resources. And I just thought maybe if we could, and if you were feeling generous enough, our lovely listeners, if maybe we could take a bit of a collection and see if we can get as many participants to the dinner as possible. That's the reason we're having an annual dinner. So it'd be great to have as many. So it's $100 a ticket. Anything that you can donate, and I'll put something up on our PayPal, so it'll come in. If you want to make it, well, actually, there's a donate button on our page. If you want to donate, just designate it for Anthesis, which is AN and then thesis, the word thesis. Which, if you're wondering what is that, that is the moment when a flower reaches its full bloom. They call that the Anthesis. Yeah, so that's the name of the organization. Yeah.
You learn.
And then, we can bring a few of the participants along to the dinner. It's always great to have them. They're fun. So that's it. And let's break. Hear a word from Magyar Professional Training. Going to be back to talk to Sebastian Zaghoubi.
Yes. I was like, who are we talking to? It's Sebastian.
Sebastian, And we'll tease a little bit. He is a guy that is very passionate about being outdoors in any way, shape, or form. So he'll tell us all about it right after this.
At Magyar Professional Training, we know that your greatest asset is your team. Investing in their development, knowledge, and happiness is essential for your business's success and growth. To achieve new heights, it's important to hire intelligent, talented individuals and empower them to excel in their areas of strength and passion. Magyar is committed to transforming your employees into happier, more productive, and fulfilled individuals. When your team thrives, your business prospers. Wise leaders understand that providing team members with opportunities to shine in their strengths unlocks untapped potential. Elevate your team with Magyar Professional Training and witness the growth of your business.
From the Magyar Professional Training Studio, you're listening to Walk and Roll Live.
The morning light spills across the floor. I take a deep breath and think about what's ahead. Most days I'm moving without a hitch. Sometimes my body taps me on the shoulder and says, slow it down for a while. The day is mine. I've got people I love and people who love me back. I get to chase what matters and laugh until I can't breathe. Some days I pause, but I never stop. Life rolls on and I'm rolling with it.
We are back to Walk and Roll Live, and our guest this week, I'll just say Sebastian, and gotta let him give you a thumbnail introduction of himself, and then we'll really get to know him. So go ahead, Sebastian.
Yep, my name's Sebastian Zaghoubi. I'm living down here in Southern California. I have a C6 complete spinal cord injury back in 2018. So, yeah.
All right. Well, as we like to do here, we like to get to know the pre-injury Sebastian. So give us kind of a context and get to know who you are and all that good stuff. So, are you originally from Southern California?
More or less, yeah. I grew up kind of all over Southern California between San Diego, Orange County. I lived in Idaho for a few years when I was younger, which I'm really thankful for. And kind of small rural town in the middle of nowhere and could
Yeah.
ride my bike across town in 20, 30 minutes. And
Yeah.
that was kind of really unique compared to the Southern California experience I had for the majority of my life. But
Yeah. Different
Right.
perspective, huh?
mhm.
Yeah. And what were your interests when you were younger?
Oh, younger, that's shifted a lot over time, I'm sure, for most everyone, right? But
Like if you weren't
um,
evolving, you weren't alive. So
Yeah.
I mean, I think sports and activity and the outdoors has always been some part of my life in some way or another. That's kind of shifted to different sports and activities throughout the years, but thinking back, that's always been all my memories are almost always outdoors, you know? Um, yeah. In my later years, probably more so than younger, maybe just because I remember them more, but
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
As a
yeah.
young kid, as a young boy, right? You're just like, whatever. We were either at school where we didn't want to be or outside running around causing havoc. Like that is the summation. Whereas us females can be like, well, then in fourth grade, I read this book. You know what I mean? Like we have,
What are
we
you
have,
talking about? We can't relate.
right? I
Reading,
sit with
what?
a lot of you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So, but you were active and you used your body a lot to get around and do things. And school was a necessity, but not necessarily a love. Would that be a correct summation?
Yeah, I think I don't know how young, but I had a feeling pretty young that just school wasn't the thing for me. Like I just didn't see myself like, as a scholar or something, It was like I just liked being doing stuff. And in my mind, when I was in school, it was always just paperwork and reading and doing math. And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, you're like, when are we done? When are we done? How many
Yeah.
more?
When
How
are we
much
out of
longer?
here?
When is snack? When do I get to go outside? All those things, right?
In my young mind, I kind of treated it like a job. I got to be here. Okay, I'll focus while I'm here. But when that bell goes off, that's me time, and I'm going to go off and do what I want to do and run around like it sounds like you did.
Yeah. And like, I think maybe at some point, like maybe high schoolish, like I understood kind of the value of using like work to facilitate fun in some way. And that kind of shifted gears into like, okay, well, what job could I tolerate doing to like maximize my fun outside of work?
Yeah,
Hmm.
Um, and I guess that's still what I'm trying to do now in my later age, not that
Right.
I'm that old, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
just kind of always seeking out like what job can I enjoy the most, but also, I guess, try to incorporate that fun into work as much as
Yeah.
I
So
can, I guess.
don't they say if you pick a job you love, you'll never work a day in your life? So sort of that thought process, right? That you're not like toiling away for no good, for no good reason, right?
Right. Yeah, yeah. Just like finding that meaning, I guess, right? Where
So you
like
went through school. You go through school, and then obviously did you go to college or what?
not till later. So again in high school is like coming senior year, it's like, okay, well the college talks start happening and so what do you
Mhm.
want to do? Are you going to college? What's going on? And I just I didn't want to do the whole thing of like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do, so I'm just going to go get a business degree or, psychology or like it just communications just wasn't my like calling. So I was just like, well, I need to figure out what I want to do first, right? I didn't rule out college altogether. It was just I didn't want to do it just to do it, right? So really after high school, I just kind of went on this like self-discovery journey of sorts, just trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life and was one of those things where it was like kind of a new job every 6 months, just try it out. Okay, this isn't for me. Let's look for something else and find the next thing and just trying to see what finally clicked. And I did everything from rebuilding transmissions to assisting with surgeries in a dental office. So there's like this huge kind of spectrum of things I ended up doing. But
Mhm.
um, it was kind of through that process I realized that like I really love medicine. Like, so originally I had was working on like cars and construction, like kind of building and fixing things, and
Hmm.
like medicine was kind of like that for me, but it was like the human body, which is like this living and complex organism that's like constantly changing and having to figure out like that was just so much more, I guess, appealing to me. And like when you fix something, it's like someone got relief or there was like some kind of
Right.
like feedback, you know?
Yeah.
And as much as I like that, I didn't like being in an office. So it was like the traditional kind of doctor or medical route wasn't really something that, again, it's like, do I want to be inside like fluorescent lights like for the next 20 years? Like,
Yeah.
so I decided I wanted to go into search and rescue.
Amazing.
Yep, I'm like, could be in wilderness. I love the outdoors, trees, fresh air. Like every day's different. You're always somewhere new. I still get to help people. I still get to like enjoy medicine and fixing things,
Right.
and
You're
problem
fixing something in
solving.
a triage sense, right? Once you find them, you're like, oh, snap. Now I found you. Now what? How many pieces are you in and what can we do? Right. Yes.
And it like that was the other thing kind of it too. Like I am a bit of an adrenaline junkie, and
Mhm.
like that kind of had that whole like pressure and in like a good way where I don't know. I could never see myself like as an accountant. It's like I need that kind of like, oh gosh, where are they? What's next? Like gotta get there and find them before, whatever. And if like at the same time, I'm sure throughout this like conversation, see I'm very like squirrel, this, that, like
ADHD.
A
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
ADHD.
uh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like so at the same time, like I was going to like I decided to go to school for aviation as well. Kind of like the funny joke I know. It's like I liked building fast cars, but like the fast cars seemed kind of slow after a while. So like the next step was planes, and what's the fastest kind of planes was fighter jets, and I wanted to go see if I could be a fighter jet pilot.
Yeah.
Um, and knowing me, I knew I wasn't a scholar, and I knew that that was a very difficult selection process to get through that. And I'm like, well, like let's keep this thing going as like a backup plan. Let's try the aviation. What's the worst case? I get my pilot's license. I do my search and rescue. Maybe I could fly the helicopters and also be a medic on them. It's like
Yeah.
keep my options open. Was having fun with it, and I kind of finally settled into where I want to be in life in a sense, where it's like I kind of know my trajectory now. I did that discovery process. I knew where I was going, and then my accident happened.
So how
And
Okay. So
old were
how
you
old
at
were
this
you?
point? Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Ha! We both
Same
were
thing.
like that.
yeah, I was about 22 years old. So like I had just finished being, I don't like to call myself homeless because like I was living in like my car, which was really a truck with like a camper, like an RV. I lived on a boat for a little while. And it's like I saw what like true homelessness was, where it was like people who find a sleeping bag in the trash can and throw that in the bushes overnight. And to me, that's what
Yeah.
like real homelessness
You
is. So
were
when I was,
nomadic. You weren't
yes,
homeless. You
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
nomadic.
I
Yeah.
yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah. So like throughout the whole time, like my grandparents like started getting older, they needed help, and I'm like, well, could be like a very like good like opportunity. It's like I can go help them, like help them with groceries. My grandma was like to the point where she couldn't drive anymore. And like I would have a place to stay. I could go to school, kind of the next chapter of my life. And yeah, so 22 years old, I had got a motorcycle. It was kind of something I always wanted to get. And I guess in my young 22-year-old mind, I justified it to myself as, oh, like I can save gas money to get to school and like this and that. And oh, traffic's not going to be that much of an issue because, like I could just split lanes and get to school faster and not have to worry about being to class on time. Like the things we tell ourselves, right?
All the upside. Yeah.
Hmm.
Really, it was like I just like riding a motorcycle and I like to have fun, but hey.
You
Um,
liked adrenaline, we've already established. So,
Hmm.
Yep.
yes.
Um, and I'm sure after talking to as many people as you have, like it wasn't doing anything crazy on the motorcycle that did me in. It was the normal day and just going around a corner and I had a mechanical failure. My brakes stopped working on my bike. I couldn't slow down, and I went headfirst into a car. It wasn't speeding. It wasn't doing wheelies down the freeway and all these crazy things and zooming through canyon roads. It was just I couldn't slow down one day and just going around the corner at 20 miles per hour or something like that. And
Yeah.
uh,
You hit the nail on the head there. That's the one thing. I went into this. Sure, I've been in the disability community, but having all these interviews has kind of opened my eyes to so many different things, and that's one of them. It can be the silliest thing sometimes,
Yeah.
or it can be very dramatic. If you hear the stories, but you end up at the same place.
Yeah.
So at that point, of course, all your life changes. And what goes through your mind at that point? Did you just think this is it? Everything else is kind of gone? I mean, all the dreams that you had and plans, maybe you were really starting to formulate at that time?
in a sense, yes. I mean, that was for sure in my mind where it was like, what are the next steps, right?
Yeah.
Of course, you're struggling with the whole like, am I going to walk again? What's that going to look like?
Yeah.
It was like one of those like blessing and a curse kind of things where I mean, I don't the first few weeks are just a total blur for me. This is like from a lot of what people have told me over the years, but like I think like the third or fourth day, some friends came and visited me and they said I told them that I'm so glad that this happened because life was boring before. And now every day is going to be interesting.
Yeah. You're like,
Um,
okay, the optimist, the
Yeah.
unique optimist with your
Mhm.
ADHD and everything came out and was like, hey, let me just stick my head out real quick and put a spin on it. But you know what? That's sometimes self-preservation, right? Because
Yeah. Yeah.
if you really looked into the deep of it, you just couldn't, your brain could not calculate.
it was like to me, it's like I couldn't change anything. As much as I tried to move my legs, I couldn't do it. So why not just go straight into that acceptance and be like, it is what it is at this point. Let's just see how I can move forward and what the next steps are.
So that's kind of like, if you look at it as a fight or flight, you decide to fight in that sentence.
I suppose, yeah. I mean, like it definitely probably was like a just coping preservation type thing
Yeah.
too. Where
Yeah.
it's just like
Absolutely.
it looking forward is a lot easier than like dwelling in the present, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Now, do you
Um,
think that you had a sunny disposition prior? Like, would you consider yourself a person that always kind of found the upside? Or would you consider yourself a person or were you just so like happy-go-lucky and trying to find your way and not really giving a crap that like that's just naturally you lean that way? I think I'm always curious about disposition prior and then how that disposition then pulls you through
Yeah.
whatever challenge you meet.
I think to some extent, like my prior circumstances where like I mean, I remember trying to feed myself off like $10 a week, where it was like, I got to go to the store and buy a can of tomato sauce for $1 and a box of pasta for $1. And that's like my meal for the day. And I got to figure out how many times I can do that throughout the week to feed myself. And it was like, to me, like being through, to me, those like hardships, like I had built up like maybe a resilience or like a appreciation for kind of those smaller things in life where
Mhm.
it was like like yes, I am now dealing with this injury and trying to process that, but it's like at the end of the day, like I'm here, right? I'm breathing, like I can still communicate, I can still talk, I can still like smile and laugh and do all these things and like it didn't seem like the end of the world to me in a sense where
Yeah.
it was like I still had all these small things to hold on to kind of carry me through and kind of be my support in a sense.
Yes.
I can definitely see how it's like, I don't know, you wake up and it's like, well, I guess I did hit that phase later, actually. I mean, yes, I was very, like, maybe too positive in the beginning.
Hmm.
And I think that, like, kind of came back in a very negative way later on, where during that time, like, the inpatient rehabilitation process, and everyone's like, he's doing so great. He has such a positive outlook. And like that whole mental health side of things was really kind of like put aside. It's like, no, what do you mean he's depressed? Like he's not sad, he's happy, he's positive, like willing to accept the challenges and do all these things. And
Hmm.
So
So
inside, are you feeling like, oh, I don't know if that's what's real that's going on here?
I honestly don't know if I knew at that
Yeah.
point. I
Yeah.
mean, it was just maybe just that survival mechanism was like, wake up and what do I have to do today? And
Yeah.
tomorrow I'm going to do the same thing and just one day at a time, 1 second at a time, like each breath, like what's next? I didn't really have that time in the hospital, especially when it's so fast paced, where it's like you wake up in the morning, you go to your therapist, and that's all day long, and you get trying to figure out like at nighttime's almost like a patient education session with the nurses. Here's what you have to do, and it's like my brain didn't have the chance to like just pause and reflect and like understand things really.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Process it. Yeah.
Um, and so I didn't grieve in the hospital. And then when I got home, I think I carried that kind of mindset through to a point. But then, like, once things start to settle down at home, you have a chance to catch your breath. And then it's like you take that breath in one day and it's like, okay, now what?
Hmm.
And I think that's maybe when it hit me one day where it was like, what am I doing with my life now? I'm like, I have to rediscover this purpose that I felt or thought I had found before, which I can no longer pursue. So I have to refine my purpose and what is that? And just really struggling with what's next. It's no longer like taking it a day at a time. It's now thinking about that. What's next month? What's next year? What's the next 10 years? And I think that's when I really kind of not really went into a spiral, but like I think those like that grieving kind of hit me more.
Hmm.
And then at that point, it was like I was at home. I didn't have all these resources available to me. I wasn't talking to people every day. I didn't have these psychologists and therapists available like I had in the hospital. And so I was really having to like kind of figure out how to process and deal with like a lot of that on my own at home.
Yeah.
And I think how I dealt with that was primarily like self-isolation. I just I decided I was going to go back to school. That was, just keep moving, keep busy, like don't let yourself stagnate. And school seemed logical. But I ended up doing like all online classes. So it was just, I was at home, I was doing something, which to me, like that was moving forward, that was progress. But it was in a way where I kind of tricked myself that like staying at home all day, every day was okay just because I was doing something.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Um, So yeah, like that went on for good 5 or 6 years. You know, leaving the house only to go to doctor's appointments and stuff. And I try to hang out with friends every now and again. Like maybe once or twice a year, I might go out with them and just kind of hey, what's up? And like,
I'm alive. Yeah.
yeah, just
How was
checking.
that? I mean, that's a huge change too, because you're kind of a rolling stone as a human, like living on a boat, living in your car, like doing these things. And now you have to go to like a stationary place with four walls and like all the things. I imagine that was a change for you, but also a change for your family if they got used to like you kind of being the rolling stone that they, you know.
I think probably to some extent they were just happy to have me in one place for a certain amount of time. But of course
Mhm.
that gets old after, a little while.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
um yeah, it was definitely I mean, the first word that came to mind was like feeling trapped
Mhm.
almost, where it's like it's not a prison, but it might as well be. I'm trapped
Yeah.
inside these walls and I don't feel like I can leave. It's
Mhm.
like a prison of your own design sort of a thing where you're
Hmm.
Mhm.
put these barriers around yourself. And um, yeah, it was, which maybe like further led to that kind of like isolation where it's like, this is my home now and this, I have to learn how to be happy within these constraints, whether they're real or artificial, like this is my perceived reality at that time. Um, and I guess moving forward, like how I got out of that, um, I had started going to like seeing a new doctor, kind of just coincidence where I went to one doctor one day and they're like, oh, you should see this doctor. And I'm like, okay, I'll go see him, schedule an appointment. And that happened to be with a doctor named Dr. Block over at Casa Colina. It's a younger guy. Some of your listeners may know him. He's like super active, rock climber, doing all these things. And he kind of related to me, as like I saw more and more. We kind of like learned each other's like backstories, and it's like, dude, why aren't you active anymore? Like you can still go outdoors, and I'm like, the excuses that we come up with, and over at Casa Cleaning, they have the outdoor adventures program, and he was really pushing me. He's like, just talk to Lisa, like just give her a call. Here's her number, and just see what they have going on, and they do skiing and this and that, and I'm like. My mindset was, I'm already injured enough. I don't want to get injured more. It's, oh, yeah, sure, I can go skiing. And then what happens if I break my hip? That sounds like a super fun experience. No
Yeah.
thanks, right?
Right.
I'd heard that perspective before, but yeah, I can see.
It was like, again, probably just putting up those barriers for myself, where it was like, trying something new was really scary in a way I didn't maybe consider or realize. And getting over that kind of fear of getting outside of my comfort zone, which had been built up in this very tiny space over years and years, where home is the only place I'm comfortable at that point. And like to even think going anything outside of that is like panic inducing in a lot of ways.
No. Yeah, for sure.
So like I had come up with excuses, it's like, this, that, that. And a physical therapist of mine was like, hey, there's this thing called the Abilities Expo. Like, you should come check it out. I'm like, okay, sure, fine. I'll go. I'll check it out. Just see what it's about, And you're rolling around. I went to the Casa booth just to say hi, and Lisa was there. And it was just this kind of crazy like coincidence where she's like, oh, hi, how are you? What's your name? Like, oh, Sebastian. She's like, you're Sebastian, huh?
Yeah.
I've been waiting for a call from you for the last 6 months. What's going on?
Yeah.
And at that point, it was like the face-to-face thing. I couldn't come up with that like excuse of like, and like you've talked to Lisa before too, right? Lisa, she's not going to take like, no, it's like your excuses is not a real excuse. Like we're going to figure out how to make this happen. Like I don't want to hear it. And
she'll smile at you and like listen, but then she's like, how long till you're done? Yeah.
It was like, so she's like, call me like, it was like tomorrow or like the next 2 days or whatever. It's like, and we're going to figure it out. I want to know why you haven't called me, and we're going to figure out like how to get you to come out for at least one day.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, okay, fine, but I'll give you the call. Like I'll come out. I'll give it a try. Okay.
Yeah.
Off my back.
Right.
Yeah.
Now I'm slightly personally embarrassed, so I have to do this because that feels worse than not calling you. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It wasn't like this like abstract phone call thing that I could just kind of put aside and be like, it was like,
who was that girl anyways? Yeah, exactly.
And I ended up giving Lisa a call. She's like, what's going on? And I gave her the whole thing where it's like, I don't want to get injured more. It's like this and that. She's like, well, find a sport that you don't feel like you're going to get injured doing. I'm like, okay, that's a fair request. I could do that, and I looked into it. I'm like, what about this sitting volleyball thing? That seems like pretty safe. No one's going to get no risk of injury. Seems like something I could maybe do. She's like, you got it. Come in like tomorrow. I think I called her on like a Thursday, and like they have their sports day on Fridays. So she's like, come on in. We'll make it happen. Okay. Go in there. Like it wasn't no idea what to expect, right? This is a brand new thing for me. I had never even I had heard of adaptive sports, but my introduction to like adaptive sports was like seeing a hand cycle at rehab, and then my physical therapist telling me it's like that's too difficult to get you in and out of, so we're just not going to do that. And that was my like whole like adaptive like recreation experience at that point, where just like, oh, that's too difficult.
And you're like, see, a physical therapist told me, so I'm going to believe it like a Bible.
Validity.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Wow, that's sad to hear that a physical therapist would say that, though.
Well, to be entirely fair, I was at the point at like my rehabilitation journey where it's like I wasn't really even able to the point of being like up in a standing frame at that point, just because the body adjusting to the blood pressure issues and all that sorts of stuff, where it's like it may have legitimately just been like too medically like risky or complicated.
Oh, so not just the physical part of putting
that way. It might have changed how you heard it if they said your body's not ready for that, but someday you could shoot for it, right? It just, but yeah, I get it. So anyway, she voluntold you that you were going to this thing.
In the best way possible, yes.
Yeah.
And I showed up, and there was a kind of like one of those pop-up tennis nets set up in the kind of like parking lot we all do our sports at over at Casa, and I just showed up, and there was like all these people in wheelchairs. I'm like, huh. It's like to me that was like the first time really interacting with anyone else in a wheelchair. Let
Hmm.
alone like we started playing sports and like we all start laughing, and it's like, oh, like you have the same like injury as me? Huh.
Hmm.
And you're doing that? Oh, okay. And it was like that was like my first sense of community, I guess, for the first
Hmm.
time in that would have been, I guess, 2025 since my injury in 2018. So,
7
6,
Wow.
years. Yeah.
whatever it was at that point. And I just remember like going to try to hit, like we used this inflatable beach ball as a volleyball just because it's
Hmm.
lighter and easier to hit. And I went up to try to hit it over my head, and I don't have triceps, so my hand just flopped down and knocked me up on the top of my head. And I was like, I just kind of giggled and laughed, and like I looked around and was like, everyone was like, oh yeah, that like
That
happens to me
happens.
too. It's like we're all kind of like laughing at the shared,
Yeah.
experience. And it was like, oh my gosh, like I can still have fun. It was like kind of in some regard, like the first time I remember like genuinely laughing in a really long time too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Um,
so awesome.
and like we played that for a little while, and like I think about halfway through the sports session for the day, like Lisa was like, I brought some rugby chairs too. Um,
She's got you
so
on the fast track, huh?
well, so a little backstory with that too. Like I
Yeah.
remember when I was doing inpatient, they showed me like these highlight clips of like murder ball and like Paralympic wheelchair rugby.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And to me, as like a newly injured person in the hospital, seeing clips of people getting knocked over in wheelchairs and having to get flipped back around and this, and like, I'm like, this does not seem fun to me. Like, why do you think this looks fun to me right now? Where I'm like, I'm just trying to stay alive. Like,
Yeah.
getting thrown out of my wheelchair, like, no thanks, right? And I kind of mentioned that to Lisa too, and so I think she like knew about like my hesitation to rugby, and like maybe that was like a good way to kind of really like overcome that barrier where it was like, by the way, you're having a fun time doing this. Maybe you should just give it a try while you're here. And I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
like, okay, why not? What's the worst that could happen? Well, I'm here. The rugby chairs are here. I'll get in it. I'll push around a little bit. Nothing too crazy.
Yeah.
And I remember getting in that chair and like bumping into another rugby chair for the first time. I'm like, whoa.
You're
Like,
like, my adrenaline switch has been reswitched.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like I can like not only was I laughing for the first time again, it's like I felt that like almost like competitive drive where it was like,
Yeah.
oh, like I can still be like active and like an athlete and like push myself and enjoy these things in like a really unique way that I didn't even think was possible before. And
Hmm. That's cool. So
yeah,
cool.
like ever since then I've been hooked. I think I've been to like almost every single sports, thing that the Outdoor Adventures and Wheelchair Sports Program has put on for the last year since I got involved that first time. And that was like really the spark for me that kind of led to everything that I'm doing now. Um,
God, I just love this whole story because it really encapsulates what we say all the time is to find your community. And
Mhm.
I started very early on telling these stories. And, a lot of the first people we talked to, and, they're like where you are now. They've been through the whole process and all that and processed everything. And some people were faster than others. And, but for the purposes of the community, this is a great story in that, you are not afraid to talk about that struggle. There is a struggle. It's not even those people that you see are happy-go-lucky, and seem to accept it all very quickly and easily. When they're alone at night, sometimes they're really struggling, and that's what I started to worry about. We're talking about the people that have made it in a way, in a sense. They've kind of made that transition to now they're thriving in life again. They're accepting of their new life and enjoying it and loving it and all the activities and whatever it is, if it's competitive or just recreational, whatever it is, and it leads them to other things in their life. And I worry about those people that are still in the midst of it, and how did they make it? So I love to hear stories like this where it just kind of just serendipity. It's like a doctor, gave you a visit to another doctor. Recommended a visit to another doctor, who then mentioned Lisa to you, and it just you get there, and then just see how quickly things started to change for somebody that's really in the depths of depression or whatever.
Yeah, and like I think it's one of those things too. I'm like kind of weirdly thankful that I went through that at this point too, where it's like
Yeah,
I understand where a lot of people may be coming from now.
Right.
Um, you know,
You have empathy and not just sympathy
yeah,
because
right.
you've been
It's
there.
like I've been there, right? It's like I
yeah,
know it's scary. I know it's like honestly, I'd go a step farther than scared. It's just terrifying. It's you have to try something that you've never thought you could ever do before, right? It's in this new way, in this new body, and
Yeah.
um, yeah, and in a lot of ways too, where sometimes when I like go visit newly injured people and they're in that kind of state that I was in, where I was like, everything's cool, everything's fine, like I'm not, it's like, is it though? Maybe now, but like, what's that phone call gonna be like in a few months if I were to make it? It's like,
yeah.
and check in on you. Are you still gonna be fine then? And I think a lot of people, they almost like forgotten about isn't the right word, but it's like, oh, they're doing fine, so they're gonna be fine later. And like, obviously that isn't the case, right?
Yeah.
And I think understanding that now too, where it was like, we really need to be checking on people. Like you don't hear from someone in a few months, just give them a text or a call, see what's going on. It could
Mhm.
be something that's like, oh, you know what, you're right. It's been a few months. It's like I should get out and go, participate in something again. Um, it's definitely easy to fall into like a funk, where
Yeah.
we get into our routines and yeah, I mean, even beyond that, I think the bigger tragedy of sorts is like, yes, we are very fortunate to know that a community exists, but there are a lot of people out there who don't even know that any of this is possible.
For sure.
That's what I'm talking about. I really feel bad for those people. And how do you reach them? It's not like you can go knocking on doors. It's
I mean, we talk about that for myself. Like I was a
yeah,
poster child when I was a kid, but then I went off on the wild blue yonder of life. And until finding you and like reconnecting to community, could you
yeah,
have asked me what's out there for me? I don't know. I
yeah,
was just trying to stay upright and not trip in front of people. And you know what I mean? Like until I really went, wait, there's a whole bunch of life that I can live by identifying.
yeah.
I am a version of that.
For both of us, it's a different journey. We had lifelong disabilities, but when we found our community,
Mhm.
it's just still, it's like this kind of a euphoric thing. Those people that get you, I just love those moments when there's an event that's over and there's two or three of you just sitting around, just visiting with each other. And those topics that come up that everybody can relate to. Well, even now, I'm thinking, nobody else does that kind of thing, and then it's like
Yeah.
somebody will talk about it like, you too, and the other person, you too, you too. Yeah. So we all can relate. Absolutely.
And I think, Sebastian, you have a unique perspective because I think a lot of people, obviously, that had that happy kind of go lucky and look like they were making it through, right? Like there is probably a lot of self-judgment as well, right? Like
Hmm.
I'm being a failure, I'm not being grateful enough, or I shouldn't feel this way or whatever. And you've kind of gone through those valleys, so you can call people or go visit and say, hey, it's okay. Like you're not being a failure, you're not a burden onto or whatever the thoughts are when you're in that dark spot to be like,
Yeah.
oh God, I convinced people I was okay and now I'm not okay, but I can't say so because I thought I was okay. And you know,
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's something that, to be totally honest, I still struggle. I mean, it's been a rough few weeks for me, and
yeah.
I don't being better about it at myself, even kind of realizing it. It's like just telling people, it's like, hey, it's been, I'm going through a tough time right now, and not being afraid to say that, but also at
Mhm.
the same time, having to kind of put that smile on and it's like try to pull other people out of the burning building at the same time, right? For lack of
Right.
a better phrase, where it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know, or the put your oxygen mask on first or whatever. But
Right, you're search and rescue in a different way, right? Because you're going into places where people are injured and you're helping to repair them in some way, even if you've never kind of seen it in that way. But it's okay for the rescuer to be like, okay, too many missions. I need a second.
I need a break. Yeah. Yeah. You know, part of the beauty of, I feel, what we do here, you get an opportunity to tell your story, like all of our guests, in a much longer form. I would imagine this is one of the first or maybe only times that you've ever been able to tell your whole story, just, with no kind of time constraints on it. And so we appreciate that very much. But I know that you have something that you're very passionate about right now. Well, a couple of things. Your work with the rugby team, and also your outdoor experiences and people getting back to camping that they had a love for it before and they think that those days might be behind them. Not the case, right? Tell us
yeah,
about what you're
so
working on.
yeah. So rediscovering that purpose, right? I feel like I'm finally settling back into, or it's like I finally found it of sorts, and now I'm like kind of like settling back into that, like getting back on that like journey of pursuing
I,
that goal.
I got to tell you, Sebastian, your face just lit up when you started talking about this. So go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, it's like there's nothing that makes me happier now than like seeing someone try something for the first time that they didn't think was possible, because I mean, probably to some extent, I remember the joy that it brought me when I tried that sport for the first time for me after all that time. And I was like, oh my gosh. And like, I just remember that like elation I felt, or like almost like a relief at the same time, where it was like, I can live again. And
Mhm.
like, just having your whole like world almost like open up to the possibilities that exist. Um, and so, yeah, I think that's really been like a driving force for me lately. I want to try to make that experience possible for as many people as possible. Um, I think the first part of that is, we mentioned a little bit earlier, it's like getting to the people that don't know that the community exists.
Mhm.
Because for me, it was like, who's going to think of typing in wheelchair sports or like adaptive this, adaptive that?
Right.
It's just not in most people's mind to even look for that sort of thing. So, um, kind of part of my, I guess, journey right now is trying to reach those people that are sitting at home in that kind of isolation. I think for a lot of people, healthcare providers end up becoming the only point of contact.
Yeah.
At
Hmm.
least that was my experience. I'm sure it's probably similar for a lot of people. And
A lot of people's experience.
trying to get like the physical therapists, occupational therapists, the doctors, there's all these healthcare providers that may be interacting with these people and be like, so there's this really cool thing called adaptive sports and
Hmm.
recreation.
Hmm.
Like maybe just like here's what it is, keep it in the back of your mind.
Maybe have a brochure.
Yeah, like just
Right. Yeah.
broach the topic with someone, at least bring it to their awareness, right? And then hopefully through that process, it becomes like to the forefront of someone's like mind where they like, oh, that seems kind of fun. Like what mountain biking? I used to mountain bike a lot. What's that? Like, is that what that is in that brochure picture or whatever, right? Like, how can I try that? So the kind of second part to that is once they know that it exists, making the opportunity available for them. So it's one thing that I didn't appreciate before was how much goes into supporting a lot of these sports and recreation programs. Um, One, equipment is very expensive. So yes, like people affording it themselves, but for a program to have, say, 10 hand cycles that they can host an event with, like not only is that a huge like economic endeavor, but like the logistics of the volunteers and the space and making sure everything's safe and everyone's having a good time. It's a lot that a lot of people don't realize when they just show up and like, I want to try hand cycling or whatever, it's like
Yeah.
there's like getting more into like I kind of like the back end of all that stuff where it's like, okay, how can I facilitate these events? Okay, so I need to do this and that. And
The operations of an event.
yes, it's been a learning process, but like through that, um my kind of four or five things that I'm most passionate about right now. I've been very fortunate to try a lot of sports and a lot of different activities. But I kind of just settled into these few things. It's rugby, mountain biking, skiing, surfing, and then camping. Those are kind of like my five outdoor activity
Yeah.
recreation pillars right now. So getting people involved with those activities. Rugby's kind of an easier one. Like there's, well, say easy, but caveat asterisk, unfortunately over the years, like a lot of these sports programs have kind of dwindled, like especially in Southern California, but I think all across the country.
Mhm.
Um, where right now, like the team that I play with, the Northridge Knights, I think we're one of the only teams in Southern California and the second team in all of California. And you think of all these people that have like injuries that can participate in that sport, and there's all these millions of people in Southern California, and there's this one place they can do it, and it's like, why? Um, so easy, yes, maybe not as available as I'd like it to be. So providing more opportunities, like I would love for San Diego to get a rugby team started back up again. We're really fortunate in this kind of LA area. We have a lot going on. Um, Unfortunately, a lot of other areas like San Diego, I think they're struggling a bit right now. And I'd really love to bring some more opportunities to San Diego and that Orange County area because there's people there too, right? And I think
Yeah.
it's a bit unreasonable, like especially when someone wants to try something for the first time, or they might be getting out of the house for the first time, like I was, to ask them to drive like 2.5, 3 hours to,
Right. To experience it.
yeah,
Mhm.
even just see what it's all about, right? Where it's like, oh, I kind of remember this thing. And it's okay, well, 2 hours there, 2 hours back. Now it's this whole day thing and trying to figure out transportation and maybe they require a caregiver, someone to drive them and all these things. It's not an easy, let me just jump in the car and drive down the street and see what it's all about.
Yeah. I live that life. I can't drive. So everything is calculated or facilitated with help or whatever. And I am like you that I have that adventurous spirit, but nothing comes without planning. Like I can't just be like, you know what? I want to go do this right now. I mean, you either have to have the economics or the infrastructure. And that is a huge thing for people with disabilities.
Yeah.
Right? Especially when something's like really intimidating. And it's
Mhm.
like, I mean, that's like a real barrier, right? It's not like a self-imposed
Exactly.
barrier. That's a real like
Yeah.
challenge and obstacle that they have to figure out how to overcome if they even have the willpower, maybe isn't the right word, but like if they're willing to even go that far to try something even,
Yeah,
right?
the desire wanes with the challenges put in place, right? Like suddenly you're like, I don't need a cheeseburger if it's going to be $47,000 to get there, and they may not send an Uber that can accommodate my walker. Yes, there are many times I have cooked at home because I'm like, do I want to do this? So put it into somebody's hands who isn't used to being as independent, or the outside world has terrified them a bit because they've just been away from it. There's 57,000 reasons not to.
Yeah.
So I think really trying to figure out how to minimize or reduce as many of those obstacles and barriers as possible.
Mhm.
I mean, that's a really challenging thing to do, right? I mean, it's like as much as we like to wake up and the world has changed one day for the better, it's a slow process and,
Today is not the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
um, yeah, it's just,
I'm super curious though to hear about your camping. Doug has talked about you did some camping stuff, and I grew up camping, so I'm super, and I have an RV that I have lived in and out of over time. So please, I'm being nosy and gluttonous.
yep.
Tell us.
So camping was something I stumbled onto like a little more recently, I guess, compared to my other sports.
Mhm.
But it was something that I really loved to do before. I was a huge backpacker. My kind of other side project that I was working on before my injury was I want to do what's called a through hike of the Triple Crown.
Okay.
So you go from there's like three major trails in the United States. There's like the Pacific Crest Trail, the Continental Divide Trail, and the Appalachian Trail.
I was like, I know the Appalachian Trail. Yes.
Hmm.
So the Triple Crown is all three of those trails, and like a calendar year through hike is you hike all three of those trails in one calendar year. So it
Okay.
was like I was working on planning that. I'm like, okay, after I finish school, I'm going to do this. Like it's a
Yeah.
huge logistical thing. And like I had built up all this like kind of excitement for being able to like work on that like goal of mine that I had. And then it was like, well, I'm obviously not doing that now, right? I
Hmm.
like, and it's like, I think a few months ago or whatever it was like, well, why not? Like, I
Got
got this
rekindled.
adaptive, I got this adaptive mountain bike now. Like, how much of this could I feasibly do, right?
Hmm.
So I started kind of like looking into like figuring out how far I could go with adaptive camping.
Hmm.
So, like, there's so many ways to experience the outdoors. There's the kind of adrenaline junkie extreme way that probably I like to do it, where it's like, let's load up a tent and a sleeping bag and some stuff on my mountain bike and drive in the middle of the wilderness and see how far I can go. And then
For
there's
the
also
record,
like,
the fear has subsided evidently in
Right.
Sebastian.
probably a little too much.
Too
Yeah.
much, yeah.
Right.
I've seen some of the clips of you riding your your off-road bike.
A little too comfortable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
Um, yeah, so there's like that like extreme side of things, and then I try to be very conscious of that too, because I know that that's like a very unique kind of thing for a unique kind of person that wants to do that kind of adrenaline junkie type of sport. But there's also I want to go rent a cabin by a lake with my family for the weekend, right?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
that's like a totally fine way to go enjoy the outdoors. And I think for some reason people think they can't still do that.
Yeah.
Um, it's I'm away from home. I don't have my equipment, my setup, my routine. It's somewhere else. It's like traveling. I know traveling is hugely intimidating for a lot of people. It's like,
Yeah.
of course, that's a whole other thing with accessible hotel rooms and but
Beat
Yeah.
that horse to death, but
yeah.
we're not going to stop. But yeah, you're right.
Um, like it's still totally like a very easy thing that most anyone can just go do for a weekend. And like if that's all you want to do, that's totally fine. But there's also all this other ways to enjoy the outdoors too, right? Where
Yes.
you can still set up a tent and you can still sleep inside a tent underneath the stars and fall asleep, with whatever's going on outside and the sound of nature. And I think it can become like a very intimidating thing or like this huge like endeavor where
Hmm.
it's like, well, so I started I did this adaptive camping presentation for REI and like through this process of setting up that presentation, I try to talk to as many people as possible to kind of see what their like perceived obstacles were. Where it's like,
Hmm.
well, I haven't been able to find like an adaptive this or an adaptive that. And it's like, well, do you need an adaptive like tent per se or an adaptive like whatever? Um, and I think it's like you don't, as long as you know, like you're kind of getting like ahead of myself and backtrack, but like jumping around.
Yeah.
So, oh,
Yeah.
squirrel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Recenter. Okay.
Pause.
Like
Hmm.
yeah, willing to try like new things. Like you can adapt pretty much anything. Like just because something doesn't say it's adaptive doesn't mean it can't be adapted to your needs. Like,
Right.
so
Yeah.
that's what I was trying to get to, right?
Yeah. No, I got you.
You need to be willing to tinker and willing to know that it isn't going to work like it works for everybody else, but you can make it work, right? I think the defeatist attitude has to stay at home or you'll have the worst time of your life. Like I think that's what it is, right? But I think in general, that's a life tip for anybody, no matter who you are. Try and leave your defeat like on your desk somewhere that doesn't come with you so you can try something new.
Having done this for 70 years, I've had to adapt to things, long before there was ever any adaptive things. And so when there started to be adaptive things started to show up at hotels, like the bars and around the bathtub and stuff, I'm like,
Yeah.
can I find a bathtub without this stuff? This gets in my way. I mean, it really did. It would get in my way. And so one person's adaptive, maybe somebody else is a
Annoyance.
hindrance. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and try different things, whatever works for you, because we're all so unique. It may not all the things that they do for adaptation may not work for you. So you have to figure out what's going to work for you.
Absolutely. Like everyone, like you said, is just a little bit different in their own way,
Yeah,
and everyone
yeah,
needs are a little bit different. Like our capabilities, and one person might get too hot, too cold at night, another person might get too hot at night, and just kind of figuring out, all those kind of nuances. It's like plus two, like into the like willing to face the challenge and leaving those problems at home. I think camping is a really good way to set up like a healthy challenge for yourself, right? You think maybe you can't do something, and like there's a way to set things up where it can be safe. Like, I have a state park that's 20 minutes down the street from me, and I can go camp there. And if something goes wrong, I can literally just load up in the middle of the night and drive back home and be back on my bed and wake up at home in the morning.
Yeah.
Um,
or try it in the
it's
backyard. Just
yes,
mock camp in the backyard.
100%. Um, and I think yeah, setting up a tent and a cot in your backyard, and it's like, oh, I can do something I didn't think I could. And then
Mhm.
it's like, what's the next thing that I can't think what's the next challenge? What's the next step? And then you kind of like get in this like mindset of, instead of telling yourself no, it's like, well, what's next, right?
Yeah.
What's the next
Mhm.
challenge? What else can I overcome?
The first one's the hardest. And then once you learn about yourself, hey, I did something I didn't think I could do. The second one isn't quite as daunting. And then the third one loses. And
Yeah.
the fourth one, and by the end of it, you're just like, I'll try anything.
Yeah, I mean, like even like just setting up a tent in your living room at home. Why
Yeah.
not,
Yeah.
right?
Why
Yeah.
not?
It's like whatever you're comfortable with, start there, and then just push yourself a little bit further each time. And then before you know it, it's like, oh, camping, yeah, of
Yeah.
course I
I
go
do this in
camping.
my living room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
It's like just building up that confidence. And like, yes, like camping is one conduit to do that, but like really, I think that's just like adaptive recreation as a whole. It's like it provides these really unique opportunities to push ourselves in ways that maybe we didn't realize we could. And yeah, that's why it's like I guess I'm so passionate about it. It's like I really think that like the key to living like healthy, independent lives is like one, the community, but also it's like being active, right? Being outdoors,
Yeah.
having a friend you can talk to about something that maybe only they understand. Um, and yeah, it's just getting
Well,
people.
you opened my eyes because I used to go camping with my daughter when she was young, probably 8, 9, and we go to a lake and we tent camp and do all that. Well, now she has a daughter and they go camping, and I'm thinking to myself, I sure would like to go camping with them, and I don't know if I could do that. And then going to your presentation opened my eyes to it, so I've already talked to them about, hey, I'd like to come, because I'll just run to the beach on a Friday night, and
Yeah.
spend the night and then come back the next day. I was like, well, I'll go along with you. And so, yeah, so I get to spend
So
time
your
with my
ripples
family
are
again.
already happening.
Yeah, they're
Ripples are already
happening.
happening, Sebastian. He came back to me too and was like, "Hey, camping." And I was like, "Okay."
He inspired me to do the camping category on my website. And
There you
so
go.
we're adding to that,
So it's working. It's working.
Yeah. And you know how social media is. As soon as I start like looking at anything camping, it's showing me all kinds of stuff about camping. So I've got to go back and add those resources. There's cool stuff. There's um, like a boardwalk kind of a thing through the redwoods where it's all
Yeah.
accessible. They've built a redwood walkway through
That's
the
amazing.
redwoods. I'm like, I got to go check that out. So unfortunately, we do have some time restraints. So want to wrap up. What's life like now? Are you consumed? It sounds like this takes up a lot of time. Are you working, or what's happening?
So, I took a little bit of time off of school once I kind of discovered the adaptive sports stuff. Was so burnt out at school at that point, and all of a sudden there's this like super fun thing that I'm like enjoying, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'll go back to school in the next semester, and then it's like that one semester turned into 2 semesters, and like now I'm at this point now I'm like, oh, like what is the next step? I've taken enough time off of school now, and it's like, do I go back to school? Like I mean, I tried working and it's like I just felt like my health was really starting to suffer.
Mhm.
Or it was like it was just too difficult for me to work enough and be like try to take care of myself at the same
Yeah.
time. And
Yeah.
like I just quite frankly my mental health started to suffer from that a lot. And
Yep.
so I'm at the point now where I'm like, okay, I really like this adaptive recreation stuff.
Mhm.
It's something where I wake up in the morning and it's like, I want to do this. I want to see smiles on people's faces. Going back where it's like, I want to find the job where like I want to do every day and like this is it.
Mhm.
So I think I'm at the point now where it's like, I want to try to figure out how I can maybe like facilitate like, I don't know, work or some like form of like sustainment for myself through like adaptive recreation type stuff.
Mhm.
I
I think
think
there should
from
be a position for you at REI. That's me,
That's exactly what
in
I
my
was thinking.
humble
I was
opinion.
like, I think that sometimes you just have to knock on a lot of doors to find out where the door actually exists. And if it doesn't exist, you just make one.
yeah, I mean like
And you're a personality who will make one. We
yeah.
can help you make one.
Yeah. It was like I'm like, well, like an adaptive tour guide sounds kind of fun. I
Hmm.
haven't really heard too
Super
many of
cool.
those around.
Yeah.
And like where I guess my dream would be someone just comes to me and it's like, I want to do this. And I'm like, I can make that happen for you.
Yeah.
Where it's like, no matter how crazy, it's like I enjoy the crazy stuff. So the wilder of an adventure you can come up with, the more I will enjoy helping like make it happen for you.
Mhm.
But it's like really anything, and it's like I think that's really what's gonna be my next steps in life and what's gonna bring me
You know,
happiness. And
that's an interesting idea because there are countless, people that put together tours. My aunt and uncle used to do tours. He was a Greyhound bus driver, and so they took that, and then on their own, besides him driving for the company, they put their own tours together. And they'd fill a
Amazing.
bus full of people and go to some resort or go on some trip or whatever it was. I mean, you could do the same kind of thing with a group of people that are disabled that want to go camping.
I think he and Corey Lee should chit chat
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
This is where us sitting together, my brain is already like networking in my mind for.
Yeah, me too.
Anyway, we're excited to see
See what
where
you've
all
done
this
to
goes.
us.
Yeah.
well, I think
Where can people get a hold of you if they want to chat about the camping or the rugby or any of
um
your activities? And
yeah, like Instagram's a really easy way. It's just my name, Sebastian Zaghoubi. I'm sure that'd be spelled out in like the episode and stuff. I know
yep.
it's kind of a crazy thing to try to spell from like hearing it, but yeah, Instagram's a really good way to get a hold of me. I can put like my email too if you want to put that in the description or something. I'm usually really responsive to email.
Okay.
And yeah, like reach out with anything. It's like I want to help. Like that's really like I am of service to others now, where it's like that's what
Yes.
brings me joy and happiness. And it's like I really like I want to help you. I know a lot of people say that, but it's like I am happy helping. And it's like if you give me the opportunity, like please, like
Yeah.
yes.
And you find a lot of that in this community.
Yes.
So, if you're a loved one of somebody with a disability and you recognize that state in them, like you heard from Sebastian, maybe you can refer them to Casa Colina or some of these others, and we can help you do that. Get a hold of us, get a hold of Sebastian, and we'll help you put all that together. All righty. Well, thank you for your time. We appreciate it very much. Better than I even anticipated. So thank you for sharing all the information.
Yep. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Each week on Walk and Roll Live, we share honest and open stories of people living with a disability.
I think it's even worse now because, they give me a roller coaster to run around town in, and I basically am just like trying to find the biggest curb to jump off
Yes.
of.
Right. You're like, I know I can return myself from hard things, so I'm going to.
Hey,
Join us weekly for another powerful episode. Walk and Roll Live, wherever you get your podcasts. Life Limitless. Subscribe now.
From the Magyar Professional Training Studio, you're listening to Walk and Roll Live.
This was such a fun sit down. obviously you've known my parents when I was growing up,
Yep.
and they were campers. Like, especially even when they went their separate ways, that's what mom could afford, right?
Yeah.
It was like a night at Pfeiffer or whatever, and other friends had a camper, and we would go and stay and whatever. And honestly, like, you know, when you're a kid, you don't remember like how hard it was probably to get me around to camp. I have great memories of camping, but now as an adult in like getting in and out of my own toy hauler, I'm like, how did I get up the stairs? Like, how did I not eat it on my face? You know? So
Yeah.
I think it's so cool that like Sebastian and others now are like focusing on ways to truly make camping accessible, you know, that isn't by hook or by crook or like a friend just holding my butt while I crawled up the stairs. I don't know how you know what I mean? It's cool. It's cool. And obviously we recorded this before I went to Disability Inn, and then I met some other people that work for North Face and different things making adaptive equipment that's coming. And so that was cool to then connect those dots and say to Sebastian later, like, hey, there's another cool connect for you. And it's just, you and I talk about this all the time. It's so interesting to see how the world has changed from when you grew up, when I grew up, to now how much more there are things, but the things are not even necessarily so talked about unless you're in the circles, right?
We've talked to guests that, you know, didn't know all of these things that we talk about all the time are out there.
Well, and even me, I show up to the interview and you're like, oh yeah, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what? Like, I kind of represent both sides of the fence because I'm oblivious enough for you to teach me, but I'm in the know enough to sort of know.
You know, and hopefully it inspires people that are in areas that don't have all of these things. And so much of it is, you know, that's what I love about bocce ball. You know, it's so accessible for anybody. You know, they have figured out ways to make it accessible, even for people you wouldn't think anyway would be accessible.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. But, you know, but all you need to do is put some tapes on a room, on the floor of a room, and map out the bocce ball court, and you got it. And you get the bocce balls, and, you know, the equipment isn't crazy expensive. And away you go. And you're
No, I'm laughing because I see visiting you at your house and there's like a bocce ball in your kitchen. And you're like, okay, now we're going to play. And I'm like,
it's game time. Game time.
You thought you were coming for a visit. Nope, we've got a tournament in the kitchen.
Yeah, so with Sebastian, it's I love to see his passion too, not only to enjoy it himself, but to, you know, he's like evangelical about sharing it with everybody else, which, you know, he opened my eyes. My granddaughter and daughter and their family, they're starting to do that same thing where they just go out on a Friday and just camp overnight and then come back home early.
It is my favorite memories. Like,
well,
honestly.
you know, and hopefully that's where my daughter got it. We used to go, like you say, you know, you want to go on trips, but it's, you know, sometimes it can get expensive with hotel rooms and all that. And you know, we would just go to a lake and camp, and next thing you know, there's 6 deer standing around us in the camp. And you know, those are great memories. And hopefully that's what has motivated her to want to relive those memories too with her family. So, and then I can do it. You know, that's what Sebastian did for me. I'm thinking, I don't know, because they're going out there and they're tent sleeping. They're not glamming. And so I'm thinking, I don't know if I could do that, but just the simple things I've kind of smacked myself in the head. Why didn't I think of that? You know, get a cot that you can transfer into. So, because I'm thinking, if I get on the ground, I'm not going to be able to get back up if I'm tent camping. Yeah. So we'll learn all about that, or we did learn all about that.
We learned all about it.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, we'll turn it into his little disciples that are like, yes, all you need is a cot.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's the thing, right? Like, we may not have the same skill set, like perhaps staying on high heels or something, but I can cook, and I can cook on a campfire. We can do all those things, right? Because that's what we were taught. And so, like,
that's one of the funnest things about camping is just eating all the time.
Just eating. Going to the bathroom really sucks, but eating, I'll do it.
Got it. All right, so next week we have Rick Hayden, which I've been trying to, schedule a time that we could get together. Going way back, Michael Rosenkrantz that was on with SoCal Adaptive. You know, he mentioned him to me. Here's a good guy, and we just kept kind of missing each other and all that. But we finally got him on, and we recorded him, and we want to share, that with you next week. So we thought we'd give you a little preview.
Our primary goal then, and still, is to build community. To build a place where people can, whether it be virtual or in person, people can go, feel safe, feel like they're not being judged, a place where they can socialize and they can build on their own support network, and a place where they can go to get answers to questions.
I agree with everything he said there. He's one of us.
It's a different face and a different space, but all with community goal. And I think that's almost everybody that we've interviewed. Even if they're telling their personal story, they wouldn't come on if they didn't feel that they were helping to sow something into others, right?
Yeah.
So
That's what motivates them. And I was just telling somebody this the other day. I'm so surprised. It is very few people that I invite to join us that say no, and it doesn't mean I give up, because I'm still nudging.
I was going to
them.
say, and if they say no, you ask again in 2 weeks. I mean,
exactly.
We've now learned to tag team it. If they say no to you, then I ask. And then
can you say no to two
me,
people?
And I pass you back to Doug. Like you're not getting away from us.
But I'm glad we got together with him and to share the story. We'll do that next week right here on Walk and Roll Live. Anything else coming up this week? You got your...
I got my thing. I get to go to the Girls Inc. Gala. I'm also super excited to do that. I'm going to represent the parent company. This is my piece of advice for anybody else who's like me, who felt like an imposter and won't do it because they're scared, and they just listen to scared more than they listen to their inner self. This year has truly been listen inside and things will happen. And so I encourage you. And if you're scared shitless, you can write me and I'll say, haha, funny, that was me too.
Yes.
Let's do it.
And I'll tell you, as somebody who's been there, and didn't want to do the scary things, and finally somehow was able to convince myself so many good things come from it. Don't shy away from it. Great things come from it. So
yes.
Right. All righty. I think that's it for now. We will see you next week. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to what?
Like, subscribe, and hit all the buttons.
All the buttons, yes. Thank you for listening. I'm your host, Doug Vincent, along with Addie Rich from the Ugyar Professional Training Studio. This has been Walk and Roll Live. Disability Stories, Life Limitless.